Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command, World War II, World at War. In our last episode, we began the invasion of India with several Japanese units crossing the threshold into eastern India and fighting some special forces units here in western India and destroying an American armored unit that had invaded into Burma. The Chinese Republic has fallen. As a reminder, Russia has also fallen. In Western Europe, we were driving the Americans westward on their limited beachhead here in France, slowly pushing them back toward the Brittany Peninsula, and had quite a bit of success there. It is the winter, so the weather's preventing us from leveraging this massive air armada that we have in place, but we have taken the time to upgrade a lot of these units to elite status, which should help us against the Allies as the war progresses. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, we're preparing for an invasion of Egypt, trying to get a headquarter unit there. We're also preparing an invasion for Western India with a German headquarter unit here and an Italian headquarter unit. And that's about it, I think. We're preparing for an invasion of India, perhaps a seaborne reinforcement of Java, but it's all going to depend on what the Allies do here. So it is February of 1945. We're going to go ahead and end our turn and jump straight into the Allied turn. Looks like our troops advancing into India are already suffering some attrition losses. But we're going to see how things play out here. Diplomatic success with Turkey for the Axis. It swings 21% to the Axis. That's a pretty substantial swing. Italy's developing armored warfare level 1. It's too bad we don't have any Italian tanks. We had a regular Italian tank unit. That got destroyed. We had an Italian heavy tank unit, La Centurio, or however you pronounce that, and that also got destroyed. So hopefully... maybe we'll build some Italian tanks before the war is over, but it's already 1945. I think the war ends in 47, but there might be like a cutoff where if you go that far, you can't win a decisive victory. I'm not quite sure. Meanwhile, it looks like the British pulled some bombers out of France that we had been advancing toward. They had really been playing havoc with us, and it looks like they may have just pulled them out. Meanwhile, some reinforcements going on here. We had been attacking in northern... Norway against some British troops that were cut off from their supply, and we've been having some success there, but it doesn't look like they're playing. They want to play anymore. That looks like they're retreating. Meanwhile, some American air units here have stacked into India. We did have an American tank unit which we destroyed last turn, but you know, the Americans are tough to overcome. They've got a lot of money. Oh shit. British tanks are trying to overwhelm the Italians in North Africa. We've got a small sliver of North Africa still under our control. They had taken Tunis and Algeria, and they'd taken most of Libya, but for whatever reason, they never finished the conquest of Libya. They just went straight to Italy. American carrier there at Dili doing some reinforcements back up to level 8, so probably can't do much about that. American submarines operating along our supply lines. But that's okay. We've got a large landing force here that... we can either use to obliterate the Americans on Java, which might be the safer bet, or we can use to try and flank India and help the conflict there. It's quite a large force, actually. It's 7 units. So that's a lot. For a landing force, it's going to be basically my Japanese version of D-Day. Meanwhile, French partisans are disrupting supply in France. I think I need a garrison in Nancy. Mediterranean supply being hindered by Malta. I don't know how that works. Like, if your supply can come over land through, like, Palestine, does it really hurt your supply? Like, I wonder how that metric really works. Is there just like a certain group of hexes that if you're in, it hurts you, or what? More American troops spotted in the Bay of Biscay, and the Germans now have a bunch of new units coming online. The Iraqi garrison can take Baghdad and garrison that, so that's good. And then the Germans have some tank units. They also have a Persian garrison unit, so that'll kind of chill in Tehran. The 12th Corps and the 11th Panzer Army or Panzer Group, I think we'll just deploy near the French border. I don't know if I'm going to use them there or not, but that's where we'll deploy them. And the weather cleared a little bit, so it looks like we can use our air power here this turn, or at least some of our air power. All right, so we'll use some Stukas here against enemy artillery positions here. I'd like to get towards Cherbourg, where they have tactical bombers. Jesus, we're losing casualties. I don't think I can attack there. I mean, these units are dead, that's for sure. All right, so that's all the air units I can attack with. All right, so we're going to attack... What do I want to attack with? The infantry? There's defensive artillery? I thought that's what I was attacking. All right, so we're going to switch these guys out with armor. Those guys will finish off that artillery piece. Then this armored unit will move forward here to attack the American tactical bombers here at Cherbourg. They'll destroy the American air unit there. Then they'll advance forward and take the port of Cherbourg. You can see here there's a bunch of... Oh, shit. I wish I had saved some of my air units to hit these guys now. Would have been nice. Meanwhile, we're going to move this armored unit forward. Don't want to attack there quite yet. Let's focus on this British unit here. Alright, let's focus on these troops down here in the south that we can isolate first. Alright. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy. Ashes, ashes, they all fall dead. Alright. So we just destroyed that unit. We'll advance here. These guys are going to swap out with mechanized troops, who are going to hold pat for now, I think. So I don't think I can bring any more troops to bear. We'll move one army unit here into Caen to make sure they don't land in our rear. These guys are going to upgrade their tanks to level 4 because they can. These guys are going to reinforce because they need the reinforcements. Anti-air, move forward a little bit, and move forward here. Okay, so the challenge here also is like making sure that they don't do another amphibious landing along our flank. That's why we have troops all along the coast here, just in the event that they have any amphibious troops that can kind of land and get in behind us. But another successful turn of destroying multiple enemy units, pinching off a British unit here, destroying an American air unit here, and a British artillery unit here. The front is wide open, peeled wide open at this moment. And we can move our artillery forward as well, so that our artillery can play a role in the next turn. Move some of our air units closer to the coast, or a little bit closer to the front. There's no Italian troops over here, are there? Move these Stukas forward. Alright, so that's the situation there. Let's see, are there any Romanian troops here? Just the one unit down here? Huh. Alright, he's going to move to Brussels. And I think that's going to be that for this turn. Alright, so I think that'll be that for the turn in Western Europe. Meanwhile, our submarine here upgraded to level 1 sub and an experienced crew. Wow. We can do a fair bit of damage to that destroyer, but I'd rather just pull back there. I think next turn, we should actually get some motor torpedo boats for the Germans as well. So, Western France, we've got a lot of targets for our air units when the weather clears up in terms of their units that are on troop transports. These guys can't land unless they have a port, so they can put in near Brest, but my guess is these hexes are already full, so they're probably stack limited with a bunch of vulnerable troops sitting out there. It'll be interesting to see if they fall anyone back to Europe or not. Meanwhile, let's upgrade this fighter. It's interesting, it's a level 4 fighter, but it's not, doesn't look any different, unlike the other ones. Alright, so moving to Italy, we're going to go ahead and strategic bomb these guys. We've got some fighter escorts, we've got some action going on there. Lost 1 unit. Enemy lost 2 fighters, 1 ground unit. Alright. So we'll attack here. Pull this guy back, move these armor down. Boom! Down he goes. And then we can move these guys back, because I don't want the armor on the border there. Move these troops forward, move this headquarter unit south to make sure they've got good supply. I don't want him bearing the brunt of the American counterattack. So we've driven to the coast of Italy. Can we hit this? Oh shit, no, please don't kill me. No, that was stupid. Why did I do that? I didn't mean to click that. I assumed I wouldn't lose my whole unit by attacking there. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Alright. Move our headquarter unit toward the troops preparing for the invasion of Egypt. Alright, these guys are going to reinforce. These troops are going to advance. Looks like there's an enemy headquarters unit here. Should be pretty vulnerable. And it looks like it is. The only issue is if I'm advancing too far ahead of my supply at the moment. I might be. These guys will go take Kuwait. So Kuwait is now German. These guys have good supply because there's a headquarters unit there. So we're going to advance here to the border with Egypt. Looks like I'm just kind of leapfrogging one unit after another. Interesting. So there don't appear to be any troops in Karachi. I'm guessing with my invasion that may change. But we have invaded sort of south or western India, and Karachi looks open, which would be huge if we could take a city the size of Karachi, which I believe also provides supply. It's not and maybe allows to begin the advance on Delhi. So the Germans and the Japanese, we can say, are coordinating with the invasion of India. I mean, it's not strictly speaking true, but we'll say it anyway. Meanwhile, the Japanese continuing their slow advance. Move this guy up here, so that should provide some supply to the troops advancing here. These guys have no supply, very limited supply, very limited supply. These guys have very good supply. Special forces destroy them. Impal will fall. I'm probably advancing too far forward at the moment for my own supply line. But I'm taking risks. It does look like they've got some advanced British tanks down here in the south. Let's knock out this American air unit if we can. Holy shit. We just lost half our strength there. Alright, I'll lose some strategic bombers to use up their jet. Damn it. They're gonna have interceptors again. More jets? Good lord. We only lost one, though. That was actually not a bad result, as we destroy an American air unit there. I'm presuming the Americans can't just build units here, which is one reason I'm kind of going after them. Alright, we're going to reinforce our fighters here. Okay, so we're making some success. We're advancing into India. India doesn't appear to have partisans either, which is nice. Okay, this headquarter unit already moved. These guys should provide supply to the troops up at the front. Meanwhile, these headquarters units are moving south. These troops are moving. never going to break through here. This is going to be like Argentina all over again. Alright, maybe if we get this level 12 army unit down there, it'll help. Meanwhile... Alright, so that's that. Gotta get this headquarter unit to Batavia. So that should help the supply situation here. These guys are entrenched, so we're gonna wait. And we're gonna reinforce the aircraft in this unit. Alright, we gotta get that German sub out of there. I'm curious, though, do I want to go after the Americans on Java or not? That's the question. Or do I want to try and invade? I feel like with the invasion we have in India going right now, and with the Germans coming in from the west, maybe it would be foolish to send more Japanese troops there, too. Maybe it would be better to use our strength against the Americans on Java and launch a counterattack there. Not doing a lot of damage to them, and we are taking some casualties to our air units. Jesus. But I'm assuming we're hurting their morale. Try and maybe hit some of their supply areas. Might actually be worthwhile landing some troops there. So we get our amphibious troops ashore. Alright, so we've cut the Americans off here. We can bomb Tijalap. Maybe do some damage to the supply that's coming into the Americans. They're dug in at level 3, so these guys can attack. Dug in at level 2. Alright, so all of their entrenchment is now gone. We have our own headquarters unit here, so this should be more than enough to overwhelm the American troops on Java. And then we can start moving the troops for the invasion of... Well, do we want to do India or do we want to do Northern Australia? Australia would be an interesting target. I want to get my ships into port here so the enemy subs can't hit them. Alright, so we'll keep these guys as is. We'll move these guys south. So these guys are all boxed in still and safe. We're going to reinforce them, and then we're going to move them on transports. Got him! Good job, Tanky. I forgot my tank had a second attack. Just knocked out another American air unit in India. So that should help. So we've taken Lido here in northeastern India. The oil wells just to the west of Lido should fall. Presumably the British will pull their jet unit back rather than be attacked by ground units there. Meanwhile, we've got a large amphibious force still available. We'll reduce the Americans on Java. That should give Japan some additional income, too, by pacifying that. And then, honestly, guys, I'm really tempted to make a play for Australia. Canberra and Melbourne are the two... I don't see any... The problem is we'd probably have to go right for the capital. And I don't know how feasible that is. Trying to do recon to see if I can see anything, but I feel like recon is largely useless in this game. Okay. So we moved our troops in China, the ones that we can move, that we care to move. We moved some of our troops. I should really just operate these guys back over this way. Just hit him with a frontal assault. So I'm thinking we'll be able to retake Cairo pretty easily. I don't see a ton of British units over here. Assuming that we don't get killed for advancing a little bit too quickly. Yeah, we're going to have a very limited supply there. These guys need to reinforce. We got to make sure that Italy doesn't get knocked out of the war through national morale falling apart. Western Europe is safe. Like, should we declare more wars as Argentina? Should we try and go for Chile, and then if we take Chile, we'll have a border with Peru, which we're already at war with. Honestly, I don't know. Like, and we've got units here that we just aren't moving. I don't know what to do with all my strength. I mean, I'd like to invade. England at some point, but I don't know. Again, I don't know how feasible that is. Oh, shit. Well, he's dead as fuck. I didn't want you to do it there. I thought we were going to go here. Well, we just lost this unit. The 16th German Army is going to get wiped out by these British destroyers and air units. I was going to try and just... Oh, no! Anyway. I know, probably frustrating for you guys to watch me do stupid things. All right, diplomacy. Where are we at with Turkey? Like, at this point, it's just kind of like, all right, let's convince them to join because we can. All right, so Turkey should swing more to the Axis this turn. Sweden would be another interesting power to get to join us, but all of our diplomacy is invested currently. Research... Japan is not maxed out on research. Japan can't do naval research. Command and control, what's that do? Improvements overall military doctrine. Increases following 1 per level. Number of units. Range, rating, APs. Okay, so we'll do that. For Japan, we're going to spend our money on command and control. And I think one more for logistics. So really investing heavily there. Japan's researching a lot. Italy's not doing much of anything. Germany is maxed out. So I guess for Germany, if we're going to purchase more units, I don't really have any use for Germany to have more land units at this stage. Maritime attack aircraft might be intelligent, but I actually can't build any of those. I'm not sure why. We could build some Argentinian units. Argentina can build a battleship? What? Okay. Let's just build an Argentine army. And then we'll build a second corps. And... yeah. Alright, so we're going to invest in Argentina, because they can do good things. Supposedly, maybe, possibly. Germany still has money left. 400 MPPs. I don't know what rockets do. Like, what do they do? I'm curious. Let's just build a rocket to see what the hell it does. Does it maybe it's like a strategic bomber and easier to not be shot down? I'm not really sure. But we'll see. All right, so I think that'll probably do it. This is a bit of a shorter turn. I know the turns have been a little bit shorter since the Soviet Union fell because it doesn't take as long to process or whatever. But I think that's everything. We moved Argentina. We still got this German army out this way. I think I'm going to move them to the Middle East, but I wish I had a rail line that was like to Syria. Doesn't look like that. But I can move them here, and then I can fast march them into Iraq. I want to get a few more troops in here, because I think what we're going to do is first off, we're going to knock out Cairo. We're going to race some troops west to relieve this Italian garrison, and maybe we'll slowly advance across North Africa. Meanwhile, I'm also going to try and advance into the heart of the British Empire and rip the heart out of the British Empire's income. It's probably too late in the game for that to matter, to be honest. Like, at this stage, I don't think we've got a ton of time left in the war. But we'll see. That's the generic strategy, though, that we'll have. And then when the Argentine forces are ready in a few months, then maybe what I'll do is I'll move an army to the border with Chile, and we'll go after Santiago, knock Chile out of the war. Then we can go for... we're going to build an Argentine empire in South America, basically, which should strengthen Germany's economy. I don't know if there's any partisan units that can rise up, though. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like South America has partisans that'll rise up. So I think that's the generic strategy that we'll have. Maybe it'll actually get the Americans to divert some forces against them. Also, maybe we should get our diplomats working on Spain. I always kind of delayed going after Spain, mainly because it just felt like another vulnerability where the Allies could land troops, and I think that was the right choice. But maybe that's changed now. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. We're going to lose this one army at sea next turn. What's the American Navy actually look like? They were at 25. They're still at 25. So, anyway. All right. Let's take a quick look at the American ground units are 64. The British are declining pretty rapidly in terms of their strength. They're down to 42, but the Americans are still at 64. India's at 10. Germany's at 77. Japan 73. Italy's at 16. Meanwhile, air units, the Americans have 20 air units. The British have 9. The Indians have 5. The Germans have 11. The Japanese have 10. So the air units are the one thing the Allies are still stronger in. That and naval units, the Americans have 25 and the British have 26. Japan has 14. Germany has 2. And one of those is in the Pacific. So that's the one thing we still have to be careful about. The Americans could potentially surprise us and land somewhere in the Pacific, and we'd have to scramble to respond. But other than that, and honestly, they could even go for the home islands. That seems like a bit of a fetch. I think if the AI did that, that'd be a little frustrating. But let's move these guys over here. Maybe I should move some reinforcements to the actual capital. It's worth a thought. All right. Uh-oh. No! And we just lost. These guys are dead next turn. Shit. Well, we're going to lose an army. Alright. Fuck. American subs just going to destroy... I was just trying to move them back there to get a little bit safer, and instead I'm going to end up losing an entire Japanese army through stupid submarines. Yay! Alright. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode despite my clusterfuck there at the end. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching.